Hey guys, Tyler here with HPHI. I wanted to do this short video to explain a little bit of research that actually came out done right here, Baton Rouge, Louisiana at Pennington. And the research involved fasting. And I put the link below so you can click on it and read the research if you want. But what I'm going to attempt to do in this video today is explain the four things that I think the public, the people should understand at least before you attempt to fast or to read this research and see how basically how they did the research and try to apply that exactly how they did it into your life. Most of the time that doesn't work. Fasting's a tool, let's call it what it is. Essentially, if you utilize the tool when you shouldn't, it won't get the job done. And I've seen more people try to fast in the past, and then what they say is, it just doesn't work for me. And technically, that's not true. It's how they did it that didn't work for them. So into the four things. So number one, if you've never dabbled with fasting before, it might not matter what time of day you attempt it. So what do I mean by that? So what they did in the study below was they took a subset of people and they had them eat in the morning and then stop eating by 3 p.m. And what they claimed was that it helped with blood pressure and insulin sensitivity. And I'll get into more of that later. So what do I mean by the timing of the day? So if you're used to eating from, say, sunrise to sunset, and then you choose to eat from sunrise till noon, right? That's a completely different story. You're cutting out half of your eating window. Or on the flip side, if you decide that you're going to start eating at noon and you're just going to eat until sundown, that's a completely different picture than if you're eating all day long. So just keep in mind that if you try it in the morning, but then you realize late at night, either you're super hungry, you don't sleep as well, it's not conducive to your social lifestyle to sit around sipping water at dinner. It might not work for you that way, but trying it a different way could have lots more benefits for you. Number two is what they say in the study is late at night. That doesn't really tell us much. So what do I mean by that? So if I have someone who's been sedentary all day long and they're sitting at their desk at their computer and they eat a huge meal at night, that's a completely different story than someone who, say, they fast until noon and then they catch a CrossFit workout or a really hard, intense cardio or weightlifting workout, and then they have a large meal after that. How you process that meal is completely different, whether if you just did a hard workout or if you haven't done anything all day. Those are two completely different things. So whenever we try to just say, oh, if you eat your largest meal at night, that's bad for your health. That's not true. So if you hear that, run. It's completely, you basically want to individualize it for you based on your sleep the night before, based on the type of exercise you did that day, based on your current stress levels, your current hormone levels, which I'll get into in the last topic. But number three is we can't just use eating and insulin spiking interchangeably. So to say that we're just going to eat a certain meal and that's the same as, if I have a steak and asparagus and then I'm going to guzzle Kool-Aid and orange juice. Technically, those are both eating, but they both have two completely different effects on insulin spiking. So to sit here and say, well, I follow the glycemic index, for instance, latest research shows that that's completely individualized per person. So if I have one person eating, say, wheat bread here, and then I have this person eating bananas and ice cream, and then we switch the meals and measure their blood sugar, it's two completely different things. So if you notice that if, say, you eat bananas and you have, energy crashes afterwards or your blood sugar shoots through the roof, but this person doesn't, that only matters to you. So figuring out what foods you eat throughout the day, or if you're going to decide to eat at noon until sundown, it still matters what food you eat. Unless one particular thing, which is the fourth one, and it's important to keep in mind that the subjects that they used in this research were already pre-diabetic. What does that mean? That means that their current insulin levels had to be increased in order to manage their current blood sugar. So what happens is when you're really insulin sensitive, you only require this much insulin to bring down your blood sugar. But if you're constantly triggering blood sugar spikes and you constantly have to have elevated levels of insulin, then that means you're insulin insensitive. Your insulin could be through the roof and it doesn't affect your blood sugar. That means you're diabetic. So these people were pre-diabetic. That's important because if it helped their hypertension, there's only two reasons mainly. There's a lot of different ways, but for the sake of this conversation in the public, there's two reasons why you would have high blood pressure. One is extreme stress. Two is elevated insulin levels throughout the day. So why is it important to say that fasting would improve hypertension? Well, if say you have a business owner who's stressed to the gills throughout the day running their business, or you have a mom of three that works a full-time job and has to take care of her kids, if you have them fast, which is a stressor, that is what it is, but it's a good stressor. If you have them fast throughout the day, you may do more harm than good. But if you have a subset of 13 pre-diabetic men and you cut out some of their meals, thus decreasing their insulin, then you're going to close that window that their body is, actually experiencing the insulin levels. So if you decrease that, you could and probably will decrease blood pressure. So all that to say, I completely support the research that was done at Pennington. Keep doing it. It probably costs, a couple $1 million to get that done. But the purpose of this video is just for the public to really understand and question what some of this research is showing. And then the other question is, how do I apply that to my life? And the questions I need to ask based on the results that I feel or experience. That's all that matters. So if it works for you, continue it. If one thing doesn't, question that, then apply something else, and then measure it, and then see if it works.